Good. So I'm very happy to be here. My name is Jonathan. Here at the Fraunhofer FFB in Münster, I'm leading the department for digitalization. And in this talk, I'm going to introduce you how we build Europe's most digital battery factory and give some insights into what we are doing. So let me start with one of the main challenges that we see in battery cell production. When we take a look at the value chain, we can see that the majority of cells are produced in Asia, especially in China. But more than that, also the majority of equipment we need to produce battery cells is also coming from China. Europe tries to catch up with that. There are some very prominent companies that try to speed up with the Asian market, but we can see that some companies, for example, Northvolt, for example, Manz, had difficulties in catching up. And this is based on my experience on overpromising. So there was some stuff that was promised by these companies, which they were not able to fulfill. And this overpromising comes from the fact that in Europe, we don't have that much of deep process understanding and experiences when it comes to battery cell production and creating the equipment we need for battery cell production. And right now, there are different strategies up and running in Europe, how this lack of process experience can be overcome. And in my talk, I'm going to focus on one of the strategies, which lies on an in-depth digitalization of battery cell production. This lies on the fact that Asian production has, compared to Europe, a low level of digitalization and bases on the decades of experiences when it comes to battery cells and their production. By implementing an end-to-end digitalization, we can rapidly build up the process understanding, close the experience gap that we have with Asia, and bring battery cell production on another level. So from the challenge, let's move over to the solution. And as I promised in the beginning, I'm going to give a spotlight on the digital battery factories that we set up in the past and are setting up right now. Before we go into the digital world, I have the physical world on this slide. So in Münster, we built up 3 factories with different capacities, especially the prefab and fab are right now in our focus. So the prefab has been built. We are producing battery cells there, and the fab is a factory where parts of the building are already standing, and we are right now in the core phase of building this factory here in Münster. So this is the physical world, and if we take a look at the digital world, so I promise we want full digitalization. I brought this overview here. So we have on the lower part of the slide, the shop floor, so the physical world, the room, the building, the computers, the machines, metrology operators we have there. And then we have on the top, digital products, services, insights, understanding of the processes. So stuff we want to get out of the shop floor. And over the last years in our own factories, but also in factories of other companies, we introduced different IT systems that function as the base for this full digitalization. So we set up IoT platforms for connecting all of the different data points. We set up laboratory information systems to connect all of this with the lab data, with the offline testing, etc. We have building control systems, which we use to control the building and the energy flow for running the clean and dry rooms. We have manufacturing execution system in place for controlling the whole production line, planning and scheduling the production. We have several of other systems there, which I'm not going to explain that much in detail. If there's someone interested into how we set up this tech stack, I'm willing to do that. But instead of that, I brought a hands-on case here. So you can see here one of our overviews that we use for controlling our production. And this is something which is, especially in battery cell production, something where we realized over the time, this is nothing you can get off the shelf. So we're working together with Siemens, and even Siemens does not have the systems off the shelf. So we had, together with Siemens, do a lot of programming, extensions, etc., especially when it comes to traceability, to get our systems up and running. So in our manufacturing execution system, we start orders, IDs are created for our different products. So for each liter, meter, cell that we are producing, and our IoT platform then gets this ID, this call for production and sends this information that the IoT platform gets from our MES to our different machines. The question is answered, how much material is needed, which processes have to be run, and then the connection to our physical world happens, and we get indirectly into our machines the question, or the answer to the question, which parameters have to be run, which product has to be produced, and we have also the connection to the physical world, so we have the possibility to track every liter, every kilogram, every meter of material. We're able to trace it with the traceability system, and correlate it with the process parameters we have in place. And this is one of the shortcuts that we take for increasing the process understanding and closing the gap to Asian vendors. So this is one approach of the solution, and I'm going to share my last 2 slides now. And the first slide would be our lessons learned. So how did we get there? How were we able to set up these digitalized factories? And there are 4 core things we identified. One is that from the beginning, it was very important to have a joint commitment. So only because our production facilities, our top management, all of them were behind the strategy to go full digitalization, only based on this, it was possible to roll it out. Second was that in the beginning, we needed to make a clear strategy on the question, what are things that we want to make, buy, and integrate those things. These were some strategic decisions we needed to make in the beginning, which were very relevant for the whole following course of the digitalization. Then another lessons learned is that the digital integration only can happen if all machine vendors, etc., also have this connectivity in place. So a lot of the machine vendors that collaborate with us and from whom we got the machines, they had the challenge that we were having very high demands when it came to digitalization. So this is something to keep in mind if you want to digitize your factory as well. And last but not least, over the course of the time, we had this the trade-off of standardized integration. So on the one hand, we want standardized integration as much as possible. On the other hand, it's very challenging or very time-consuming to standardize everything that is there. So this trade-off was one of the key learnings as well. And now I'm going to jump over to my call to action. So I explained to you why we digitize our factory, how we got there. And now I'm going to set a spotlight on what can we do with this full digitalization. And for this, I have this slide here. So what we are doing right now, and where it would be great to collaborate with interesting partners here in the call as well, would be that we are developing and testing IT/OT solutions. So for example, for one machine vendor, we tried out its IoT platform in a real battery cell production scenario to demonstrate that it's actually working. Also, we collaborate with partners that need battery production data to, for example, train their models or get some insights for their product. So data as a product is another thing that we're working on. Also, we collaborate with companies that want to train their AI models in real production environments, for example, predicting final capacity models that are trained on LIMS and MES data. Also, for a lot of machines that are being developed, we have this digitalization add-on where we develop the software parts and digitalization parts of these new machines that are being developed. Also, we are producing batteries, and we can, together with the actual physical batteries, we can hand over deep dive data packages to the companies that are buying batteries from us. And also we have some companies that collaborate with us to have customer-facing technology showcases. They use our environment, since it's possible to guide potential partners through our environment. They use our sites as technology showcase rooms, which is also possible. And then last call to action from my side are the hands-on digitalization integration training. We train data engineers, data scientists, etc., not in a theoretical environment, but in a real battery factory. And with this pitch, I'm coming to the end. And thank you very much for your attention. I'm looking forward for your questions or comments.
Yeah, sorry. And thank you for the insights, Jonathan. very interesting, and I'm looking forward also what the environment of the fab then will deliver, because then you really have extensive capabilities. I think we have one question, Max, from the audience, if there's none, or if there's one. I don't see a hand yet. Okay, then I will have one short question to you. If you would need to pick one optimization point that you could address through digitalization on saving costs in battery manufacturing, what would it be?
From my point of view, there are, on every machine you have in battery cell production, you can optimize a lot. But the biggest leverage I see is optimizing the whole production chain. So not only focusing on one machine, one process, but by understanding how the different processes are correlated and how the process parameter from one process interact with the product quality from later processes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the biggest leverage I can see when it comes to what can you do with digitalization.
Okay, so you're basically saying streamlining the whole production chain rather than having one stellar machine that is...
Yeah, because this is the thing that you can do only with a fine-grained digitalization.
Mm-hmm.
Just optimizing one single process is something, which is also possible, but the more digitalization you have, the better you are in optimizing your whole process chain.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, no wonder there wasn't anybody talking about lithium refinery, because there isn't one in Europe. It's a real challenge. It's hard to do that, and I like to talk about that. I think it's fair to say lithium is the real workhorse of a high-performance battery. So we can say no lithium, no batteries, no electric cars. But we have no relevant lithium production in Europe. And the situation is getting worse. There's today already a huge supply gap. And in only 5 years from now, the supply gap will be around 600,000 tons of lithium. Hang on, what happened? Oops. But it's not the sheer availability which is not there of lithium. It's all about the technology. And we heard this before, Simon talked about this. It's about the technology sovereignty. It's important we Europeans really get involved, how to make lithium, how to operate the entire battery value chain. And it's really worth doing it. It's all about our sovereignty, as I said, and it's a fantastic growth story. And that's why we are getting involved. So we want to build a facility which will produce lithium for 1.5 million electric cars in the EU. Our lithium will be a low-carbon lithium, and it will be produced with our own production technology. We have no CO2 emissions according to Scope 1, so we do not emit any CO2, and our lithium has a carbon footprint of 1/3 of the lithium which is currently on the market. It's our own production technology. We have developed this in our R&D center, and we have got patents for that. And above all, this new process provides us with a very high purity of lithium. And this is important to improve the performance of high-performance batteries. The efficiency through the chemistry we use and the process engineering is really best in class. As a result of that, we have low cost and we have high profitability. And we have picked the perfect location. It's a chemical Verbund site in northern Germany, so we are close to our future customers. We are close to the area where the battery technology hopefully will be developed. We have a very good access to a skilled workforce. We have access to a very good infrastructure chemical infrastructure and a Verbund infrastructure, and above all, we have access to a seaport. So all in all, this is very beneficial, and this is a very good opportunity to produce lithium in Europe. And it's not just only a good opportunity, it's a fantastic business case. There's a lot of value involved. There's a significant value creation from today as we start constructing our first demo plant to operating our first train of our commercial plant in 2032. Guys, there's an opportunity to get involved today as our demo plant wants an investment of some 75 million. And there's another opportunity to get really involved 10 times as high as today when we build our first commercial plant, which requires some 850 million. These are big numbers as the chemical industry is highly capital intensive. Guys, it's really the moment to consider getting involved. It's a fantastic growth story. And the moment is to invest now, to harvest lithium very soon. The question is, where do you want to be? We already have a placement ongoing. It's a convertible loan for investors who want to get involved with around 1 million up to 10 million euros. We also go for equity or debt opportunities. And those who want to invest more than 50 million, we have individual solutions. Guys, it's in your hand to decide what is your option to become a lithium producer. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take your questions now.
Thank you, Axel, very much. And I think I see already there's the first question. I have one as well, but I think, 𝗕𝘁𝗁𝗏, you can go first. Just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, thanks, Max. So, yeah, Axel, thanks a lot for your very nice contribution, and actually also for the fact that you are establishing the first plant in Stade in Niedersachsen. So it's also for us very important to have you here. So my question would be in the directions of could your technology be applied for refining of lithium technical grade coming from a hydrometallurgical recycling process, or you are focusing only on refining lithium from spodumene? This is the first question. The second one is regarding funding. So are you looking at investments, or you are also or you could also consider some credits given from European Investment Bank or some other institutions? Yeah, this is the third question. Where do you get your initial materials? So also from Germany, from Europe, or you are importing them from other countries? Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. So more or less 3 questions. Our process is based on spodumene. We will get the spodumene from all over the world as we have a very efficient seaport very close by. It's part of our operation. And our process, and this is unique, this is a competitive advantage, has been developed to digest different kinds of spodumenes coming from different places of the world. So this makes us very flexible, and this gives us purchasing power to purchase or to make choices regarding spodumene. You mentioned recycling. This is indeed a very important issue, and we are well advanced to introduce recycled material in our process to have a source of lithium. And we have developed our own recycling process. So we receive a lithium stream from the black mass, treat it, we polish it, and then we inject it in our process. And as I said, we have a second source of lithium in our process, which will give us another competitive advantage. Your third question was, where should the money come from? We are inviting investors. As I said, we are in final negotiations in our first round with investors, going for a convertible loan. And each investor is working in the category of 1 to 10 million. But we are also applying for grants and for funds on a federal level, on a state level, and also on a European level. But there is a big issue. The capital industry, or my business, is very capital intensive. So most of the funds are not suitable. There's another big issue, and this is we will be operational with our first train in 2031, 2032. And the existing funds are not geared up to fund such projects. So it's a real dilemma to getting the right funds. Funds, I think, are good when we do not need them anymore. And now, when we really need the funds are not suitable to our project. So this is a real dilemma. That's the reason why we focus at the moment on private investments.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Max.
But let's not focus on funds, please.
No funds.
The most important thing is now to focus on this enormous opportunity to have the beginning, and by the way, thanks to the recycling, the end of the lithium value chain within the battery value chain, and to make this happen in Germany, in Stade. This is very important to do it here because we are talking about real high technology, and I like to have this very close to our customers and the customers of the customers. And this will help to improve the performance of the battery and really to establish a resilient, low-carbon battery manufacturing value chain here in Europe.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, thanks a lot for the invitation, Max and Simon. I think the previous presentation was perfect for discussing also the topic of supply. Where should the practically material streams that will allow for the production of recycled critical metals come from? And this is practically the problem that we're tackling in Niu Niu. So I think we are all aware of the environmental destruction related to the disposal, and very often the not so great disposal of electronic waste. And we all know that these material streams contain also critical minerals such as cobalt, lithium in the batteries, but also gold, platinum, and copper in the printed circuit boards. And it's estimated that every year we waste 60 billions of these critical metals in these material streams. And important to mention, without taking into consideration the disposal from the industry. So this is practically just post-consumption. And the demand of these critical metals is expected to grow to 166 billions by 2030. Only from the climate tech industry. So this without taking into consideration telecommunications and defense, which are large consumers of these critical metals as well. And what we have identified over the past 5 years is that the bottleneck is not just the lack of infrastructure, but also the lack of structured data that allows for the capitalization of these material streams. And this is a problem that we are tackling at Niu Niu specifically. What we are building is an intelligence layer for the circular economy of secondary critical metals. And this might sound a bit abstract, so I will go deeper into that in a second. We received a grant from the United Nations back in 2021. And since then, we have secured contracts with the largest recycling refineries in the US for printed circuit boards in Europe and also in Asia. So how does it work? What we identified is that we are in a double-sided demand-driven market, which has large OEMs and large e-waste producers on one side and technology companies on the other. We connect those large e-waste producers with dismantling plants and aggregators through something that we call an ESG scheme, which tackles their Scope 1 and Scope 3 problems. We then enable these plants with our AI sorting technology, which we developed with our own data sets and created our own models, so that they can classify the material based on the critical metal content and value. And we then connect those material streams with the refineries that can really extract lithium, cobalt, platinum, etc., out of these very heterogeneous components. One important part to mention there is that the Basel Convention regulates the transboundary movement of e-waste, which makes it harder practically to export batteries and printed circuit boards from the south to the global north. And this is a highly regulated, and this is a problem that we're tackling as well at Niu Niu. Our business model is based on those regulations. And last but not least, with the information that we have along the value chain, we can provide full transparency of where these metals are coming from. And we are currently assessing this new standard for traceability and looking how we can implement it into our platform as well. So the benefits are 100% traceability, shorter payment cycles between the dismantling plants and the refineries by the early identification of value, and higher productivity at the human-machine interaction with the use of our technology. Our computer vision algorithm allows for the early identification of the metal content and value in the most heterogeneous components, such as the printed circuit boards, and for it to be sorted. The market opportunity in Mexico is considerably high, given that the largest electric vehicle producers are based here, and they have huge amounts of batteries in their ramp-up operations. So we help them to dispose of their materials with a seamless process. Our team is out of international engineers, data analysts, lawyers, and economists, and we're backed by venture capital firms that secure our growth. Our business model combines AI-based classification, outsourced logistics, specialized logistics for this kind of material streams, and a managed marketplace. And soon we want to integrate also financial products into our platform to make the flow even larger. This would be from my side. Happy to hear your questions.
You are still muted, Simon.
Sorry, my apologies. Dylan, thank you for the insights. I would have a short question directly. Does the recycler need any special equipment? Are you advising them on camera, etc.? Because as I understood, you're using a visual algorithm, like visual detection, to put data to the matter, so to speak. What are the requirements there for companies to use your digital know-how?
Not just having a mobile phone. So we are practically, our aim is to decentralize the identification of value in these components. So this should be usable in any mobile phone that can be Android or iOS. Yes. And so sorry. So that's something that I forgot to mention is that we're looking for collaboration with companies that can reduce the risk in the transportation process. So practically how we handle the batteries in the early stages after we identify their value, so that the risk of transportation to the refineries can be lowered. So if there's anyone in the room that is interested into this topic, please feel free to contact me.
Okay, gotcha. So then I think my question is answered. Does anyone else has a question on this inspiring tech that is kind of, closing the loop, I would say. I think that is really what the key value here is. If not.
Thank you. Also, hi from my side. I'm very happy to introduce the Battery Startup Incubator to you. We want to accelerate battery startups from research to market. And I would say we are already here for energy serenity. We need to strengthen the whole battery ecosystem. And if we look to it from the really beginning, the R&D, it actually, we are not that poor. We are well funded and we are strong in battery research. But what we want to make better is to lower the energy barrier to go out of the lab and bring the innovations into the market. And that's where the Battery Startup Incubator wants to contribute. The Battery Startup Incubator is fully funded by the Federal Ministry of Research, Technology and Space. And we profit from the strong ecosystem from the Venture Labs, which is a joint venture of the Classical Entrepreneurship Hub of Unternehmertum and the Technical University of Munich. And the idea of it is that, especially in the beginning of the phase, there's very different support. If you have an industry heavy startup, let's say in the battery production, or you have a software startup. And that's why the Battery Startup Incubator was built, to take the strong ecosystem already existing from the entrepreneurship hub and bring it to whole Germany in the battery sector. And the system we profit from is, I would say, very successful. The teams acting in it in 24 raised over 2 billion. And this we now want to apply to all of Germany. We do this with 4 main part of support, and I would say the outstanding one is probably the access to lab and prototyping facilities. We just started 3 months ago, and together with the Venture Labs, we have 400 square meters, which we can offer to the early teams, funded and unfunded, where they can start testing out their ideas. And this we want to expand, that we also get the prototyping facilities and the lab that already exist in research accessible for startups. Beside that, we offer, I would say, the more classical incubator service. We work with the team together on domain-specific education and really bring them, let's say, from the lab to the entrepreneurship world. We focus on the very early stage startups, really where they are in the ideation prototyping phase, where they need, I would say, not very cost-intensive infrastructure, where they need the support and make them ready that they get external capital. But we love to keep also our more mature teams, because they are the best mentors for our early stage teams. We do this with a team which is, I would say, very well balanced between entrepreneurship background and technical background to support our teams, and back with an advisory board from the Venture Labs and the TUM University. And we are happy not only to get teams that are interested to go this super interesting journey with us, but we also need infrastructure that you could make available for teams, and always technical expert for feedbacks for our teams. Open for questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Tanja, and perfectly on time. So if there are questions from the audience, just raise your hand. You can also text them in the chat. Maybe let me start with a question. Is there any rule, or do startups have to fulfill certain requirements for them to be part of your startup initiative?
There are some, I would say, entry gate page, then we have a technical deep dive with them. But really basic, I would say, normally but even there, when you are not a team, when you are a solo research in the lab and you have a great idea, then we would find somebody who like cover your weakness, and then you can be part of the incubator. But there we also have a support system, and you need some, because we from the German government funded, you need some German relation, I would say. But that are normally the only hard entry gate barriers we have as an incubator.
All right, thank you. We also have a question from the audience.
Yeah, hello, Tuomas Messa from Cell Life Technologies. So just a question about this prototyping lab. What kind of cells you can make there? Like what kind of form factors?
At the moment, we use the venture lab areas, which are chemistry labs, and the teams we have so far, they brought their own infrastructure. So it's not a battery-equipped lab yet. This we hope to build in the next year. At the moment, we have teams that bring their own infrastructure into a lab. The lab is, I would say, a basic chemistry-equipped lab. So they have access to fume hoods, gas supply, waste supply, analytics of the university. But the battery-specific one, we are still in building up. Or I would say our main action is actually to enable the access in already existing lab. We want this normally very long negotiation between chairs, universities, and entrepreneurship hub to make way faster. Let's say a team has maybe some money and want to enter existing facility. We try to make this way faster and less complicated.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, I think you were perfectly on time, so we have time for another question. Sasha, you were raising your hand.
Yes, Max. Thanks, Tanya. So just correct me if I'm wrong. You are also supporting the startups or early stage companies coming from outside Germany, let's say, and would like to settle up in Germany. So I mean, since there is a number of joint research projects between different countries, yeah, so like Germany, Canada, Germany, India, and I would say, would you also support a company like researchers who want to start up in Germany but coming from Canada or India?
Yeah, if we see some, let's say, real motivation to, let's say, build up a facility at a prototyping, the customer are in Germany, then we work with the team.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm 𝗕hiểu𝗁𝘁𝗃𝗁𝗶 Astorga, and I would like to introduce to 𝗕παιs, a digital solution that allows you to track the entire value chain of lithium batteries from their origin to their final disposal by using blockchain and entities, ensuring security, transparency, and trust at every stage. The main question is, do we really know where the lithium batteries we use every day come from and where they go? One big challenge is the lack of traceability. Without reliable data, it's hard to ensure sustainability, regulatory compliance, and proper end-of-life management. The lack of traceability prevents us from measuring, managing, and making informed decisions. So, and without measurement, there is no way to evaluate progress or setbacks in the sustainability goals of companies and countries. Our B2B solution focuses on manufacturers, e-mobility companies, energy storage, waste managers, and regulators, all stakeholders who require accurate, secure, and shared information. In the future, consumers will also demand products with certified traceability and reuse, so 𝗕παιs can grow in B2C market as well. 𝗕παιs is a digital certificate that allows the life of each battery to be recorded using an entity. This entity is unique and can contain data like lithium origin, health status, usage history, and recycling process. This helps everyone in the value chain to make better decisions and stay aligned with circularity regulations. The need for traceability is global. E-mobility, storage, and new regulations are driving it worldwide. Unlike other projects in Europe, for example, 𝗕𝘗𝘃 is flexible. It adapts to multiple users and is ready to meet the new sustainability demands of the battery industry. 𝗕𝘗𝘃 digitizes critical mineral verification processes in a more cost-effective, auditable, and automated way than traditional mechanisms. By using blockchain and entities, we create secure and immutable records. This builds trust between all stakeholders. In the future, we plan to integrate IoT sensors and automatic records that feed into these certificates and make them fully verifiable. Our work is based on a solid track record of public and private projects in the energy and mining sectors in Chile. Our plan run pilots with key partners for 2025 to 2027, begin commercial scaling in 2028, building strong links with manufacturers and recyclers. And we have also received awards and recognition for our innovation. And yes, we are motivated, visionary, and committed team. We believe that traceability is the foundation of sustainability, and we are building the digital standard to achieve it. Finally, we invite you to learn more on our website or follow us on social media. So thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That was
very fast.
a quick walkthrough, yeah. But perfect. Maybe let me start with the first question. With your 𝗕𝘗𝘃 project, what role would Germany or Europe as a market play? And maybe could you comment, like, why is a company such as Germany interesting for your company, for your product?
Thank you for the question, Maximilian. I will leave you with Eduardo Soto, our CEO, for the answer. Eduardo, please.
Thank you, Maximilian. Thank you for this opportunity for explain our project, our product. Germany is very interesting for our company. Yes, we have a startup in Chile. We collaborate with biggest companies, mining companies in Chile, Lithium, copper. Yeah, we create materials in Chile. Germany is very interested for the automotive or renewables energy industry. Yeah, we need to connect with 𝗕𝘗𝘃. 𝗕𝘗𝘃 is a bridge. It's a methodology. Yeah. The idea is connect the battery passport standard in Germany or in Europe. Yeah, the battery passport is very interesting, very complete. 𝗕𝘗𝘃 is a methodology. Yeah, is increase the opportunities for traceability, community, water. The international regulation in different countries connect the systems. Yeah, it's reduce the bureaucracy. Yeah, the 𝗕𝘗𝘃 reduce the bureaucracy. Yeah, it's very important, this concept in Germany. Yeah, reduce the cost. Yeah, it's decentralization of data. Yeah, for example, with 𝗕𝘗𝘃, you can watch the real certificate in Chile or Argentina or other country, Australia. Yeah, you can verify the certificate, the national certification in Germany, for example. Yeah, you can watch more information in the website. Yeah, I write in the chat the website.
Yeah. Thanks for this clarification. And we have one question in the chat as well. So I will just read it out for you. How to ensure that the data written in QR codes or barcodes are correct once the data is read via your solution? And is it open to manipulation?
Yes, we use the standard blockchain, for example, Ethereum. Yeah, we base it our blockchain in Ethereum. We create a PDF files with QR codes. Yeah, and create a unique PDF and encrypted PDF. Yeah, with one hash, and put in the Ethereum blockchain, yeah, with NFT, yeah, and connect this PDF information with this hash in this platform, yeah. So it's very difficult to explain without diagrams for me. I am engineer. Yeah. This is a good opportunity for connect with the people. Yeah. We can explain with more data. Yeah. The methodology, the DPass methodology.
Thank you. And there's another question from Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. I do have one question regarding the technology you chose. So at least the EU battery regulation does not mandate blockchain, so it only requires features like interoperability, etc. And I'm wondering why you chose to implement blockchain NFTs instead of using some centralized or federated data space or traditional encrypted databases.
Yes, we value propose in our platform of DPass is a new methodology, yeah, not a decentralized methodology, yeah. The idea is not to create the central bank of data, yeah. Today you create the central bank with battery passport methodology, yeah. The idea is the normal people receive this certificate and verify this information with decentralized methodology with DPass. Yeah, it is the principal idea.
Okay, thank you.